My presentation is on the adoption of foreign-born orphans in the United States. I was born on May 23, 1997 in Almaty, Kazakhstan, and my parents adopted me on February 28th of 2000. They came from Atlanta, Georgia through New York, Moscow, and then Kazakhstan, and then spent 2 weeks going through the process of adoption to bring me back to America, where I've now been for over 15 years. The Russian Federation has halted adoptions since 2013 due to growing tensions between the United States and the Russian government. The Hague Adoption Convention is an international convention dealing with the international adoption, child laundering, and child trafficking in an effort to protect those involved from the corruption, abuses, and exploitation which sometimes accompanies international adoption. The convention has been considered crucial because it provides a formal international and intergovernmental recognition of inter-country adoption to ensure that the adoptions under the convention will generally be recognized and given effect in other party countries. The preamble to the convention states, inter-country adoptions shall be made in the best interest of the child and with respect for his or her fundamental rights and to prevent the abduction, the sale of, or traffic in children, and each state should take as a matter of priority every attempt to place children in their own country before an international adoption is considered. This was passed on May 29th of 1993 and became effective worldwide on May 1st of 1995. However, it was only implemented in the U.S. in 2008, but as of 2013, 90 countries have ratified under the convention rules. The countries in green, such as the Russian Federation, China, and Haiti, have signed but not ratified the laws, and countries in purple, such as Korea, Nepal, and Guatemala, have ratified but are non-member states of the organization. When it comes to adopting internationally, there are a lot of requirements you must meet. The first is age. In most cases, applicants must be at least 25 years old and under the age of 50 to adopt an infant. When it comes to marital status, singles and couples must apply to the LFS for international adoption. Married couples must have been married for at least 2 years and if divorced, may not have been divorced more than 2 times. Financially, the family income and assets must be sufficient to meet the family's needs, including any prospective adoptive children's needs. This includes copies of tax returns from the previous 3 fiscal years. Medically, the prospective adoptive parents and other household members need to be free of communicable diseases and physical or mental disabilities which would interfere with their ability to care for children. A written statement from a physician is required to affirm your ability to parent. The family must also have medical insurance. Medical insurance must be available for a child with pre-existing conditions at the time of placement. Legally, each adopting person must complete required state criminal history, child abuse, and FBI clearances. Additionally, each adopting person is required to submit a sworn statement indicating whether he or she has ever been charged with or convicted of a crime in any state and/or other jurisdiction. Lastly, they must go through a home study. The applicant's home must meet the physical requirements for adoptive homes established by the state's licensing regulations, indicating there is adequate space and health and safety issues are sufficiently addressed. A social worker usually takes 2 to 3 months to process the study. Now, requirements are usually lower for families looking to adopt a child with a physical or mental disability, such as Down syndrome, or for children that are older. And every country has its own specific requirements, such as China, which does not allow blind people or people who have taken antidepressants to adopt a child, or if you're a single mother, you most likely have to adopt a child who has Down syndrome. Now, there are some countries that do restrict international adoption to America, such as Vietnam, Ethiopia, and Guatemala, because they believe that some of the adoptions have been corrupt, such as tampering with DNA or papers to adopt more children than they are allowed. And if you look at the picture below, it hit a peak in 2004, which was about 23,000 adoptions. However, due to strict requirements and some bans, it's dropped down to about 8,000 in 2013. Now, in 2013 and 14, Russia implemented the Dima Yakovlev law. The law includes an article that prohibits American families from adopting children from Russia. The law was named for a young Russian adoptee who died after being left in a hot car by his adoptive father, and there was a broad consensus that it was enacted in response to the adoption of a bill passed by the United States Congress on December 6, 2012, and signed into law by President Barack Obama, known as the Magnitsky Act. It banned selected Russian officials charged with human rights abuses from entering or holding assets in the United States. Russia also banned adoptions by homosexual parents and single adults in 2013, as Vladimir Putin pictured below, has created strong laws in Russia against their demographic. However, studies show that children are safer in an American home rather than an overcrowded and largely substandard Russian orphanage or home. There have been more than 60,000 U.S. adoptions of Russian children over the past 20 years, and only 19 of those children have died, a death rate of roughly 0.03%. The law was primarily a political act of revenge, and that if the Russians' claims of concerns for its own orphans should be taken seriously, this could be solved by reforms that can be made at a low cost, such as what China has done in the last decade. Russia's socio-economic situation and political ambitions have led to offsetting thousands of adoptions, and it will most likely stay this way for years to come under their current political regime. And here are some random facts. There are more orphans in sub-Saharan Africa than children in Denmark, Norway, Canada, and Sweden combined. And if you look below at the population pyramid of South Africa in 2009, it shows that a majority of the population is from the age of 25 and below, which means that due to their economic status, there are a lot of families that cannot hold that many children, so there's almost a crisis in South Africa with how many orphans they currently have. And there are about 1.5 million adopted children in the United States, which is 2% of the population, or one out of every 50 children. And the cost of adoption usually ranges from $20,000 to $25,000 on average, but can fluctuate based on the race, sex, and country of origin. And then here are my sources. Thank you.